Right here. The seal is busted, and the splitter goes right under the mulch. Let's track it.
Sir, this entire setup is illegal. You're stealing enough power to run the entire block. Wait, this is a misunderstanding. I can explain everything. You have the right to remain silent.
A full scholarship, Beta. You did it!
Oh, Daddy, I'm so happy.
The number on the bill was $4,983. I stood at the mailbox in my work shirt, name stitched above the pocket, fingertips nicked from stripping wire, and my knees actually loosened. This was the tuition fund. 2 years of night jobs and weekends and every promise I had made at my wife's grave that Mara would be okay. Across the street, the neighborhood fountain burbled like it had money to burn. My name is Eli Carter. I have wired homes in this town since flip phones were futuristic. Electricity is honest, people less so. When Jenna died 3 summers ago, I sold our old place and bought a modest ranch in Briar Hollow for the school district and for the quiet nights so Mara could study without sirens. For a while it worked. We made grilled cheese after late service calls and laughed at bad sitcoms and pretended we were not still learning how to breathe in a house missing 1 heartbeat. Then the letters started arriving. Lorna Voss had been HOA president for 6 years. Pearl SUV that had never seen mud. Neutral blazers on Saturdays. She fined me for a porch light she called too warm. Then for a trash can visible 11 minutes past pickup. Then for a security camera I installed above the garage after Jenna died because Mara came home late sometimes and I needed to know she was safe. The $4,000 bill came dressed as a community energy reimbursement notice, shared infrastructure surcharge, equalizing charge for repeat violators. The language sounded legal until you held it next to the lien notice stapled behind it and realized they had built the punishment first and searched for a reason after. Mara was at the kitchen table when I read it, pencil pausing over practice essays. She recognized panic in her father's breathing before I could hide it. I told her to keep studying. I said I would handle it. Jenna's coffee mug was still on the counter because I still could not bring myself to move it. I drove to the county records office the next morning because paper trails are just another kind of wiring. Follow them and you find where things connect. The HOA filing showed dates that did not line up with state notice requirements, votes recorded without names, emergency assessments declared during weeks when nothing had happened except the pool reopening, payments from the HOA account to something called Voss Consulting, every month just under the amount that would trigger a mandatory review. I called my friend Theo, who reads meters for the power company. We met behind a hardware store and he pulled up 6 months of clubhouse usage reports on his tablet and whistled low. The consumption had tripled. Either someone is growing a jungle in there, he said, or someone is stealing. After dark, we walked the clubhouse perimeter with flashlights held low. Behind a row of decorative hedges, we found the service pedestal. The meter seal had been broken and replaced with a cheap look-alike. A second set of cables, darker and impatiently installed, snaked into conduit that did not match any approved site plan. The line was not feeding lights. It was feeding something hungry and steady and industrial. The HOA called an emergency board session 2 mornings later. I was summoned. Mara refused to stay home. Inside, Lorna sat at the center of a table draped in HOA cloth and slid a folder toward me without greeting. On top was a new invoice larger than the last. At the bottom of the stack was a single page I almost missed. It was a schedule. Mara's school hours typed out with tomorrow circled. Lorna's manicured finger rested on that circle and my daughter's breath hitched beside me. She called it a wellness check, said minors needed supervision, smiled like concern could be weaponized. I collected the folder and walked out with Mara and did not say a word until we reached the car. Theo filed an urgent report with his supervisor that same evening. She arrived at the clubhouse the following sunrise in a reflective vest with a utility badge and the kind of expression that hates shortcuts. She broke the meter housing legally, documented the splitter, and traced the extra conduit across the street toward Lorna's corner lot, where it disappeared under fresh mulch and resurfaced at a locked cabinet behind her hedge. She followed the line to the detached garage behind Lorna's house, The door rolled up, revealing racks of equipment humming with heat, ceramic dust coating everything like snow, industrial kilns running continuously. Not a hobby, a factory, powered entirely by electricity stolen from the neighborhood and billed back to residents like me as community infrastructure costs. When officers arrived at the hearing Lorna had scheduled to foreclose on my property, they walked past me and addressed the room. The hearing was being suspended pending a court-authorized inspection. Lorna sprang up demanding to see a warrant. The officer raised a sealed envelope. If she interfered, she would be
obstructing. Outside, under the utility lights, Lorna screamed that she had invested everything, that she deserved success, that I had ruined something she had built. Janice shut down the power feed, and the sudden silence settled like snow. The charges came down to utility theft, fraud, intimidation, and tampering with infrastructure. Guilty on multiple counts, restitution ordered. The Pearl SUV was replaced by a for sale sign that lingered in the rain. The tuition
fund never fully recovered. But Mara's acceptance letter arrived on a quiet Tuesday morning. State University Engineering Program, scholarship attached. I stood in the kitchen holding it and felt a warmth that had nothing to do with electricity. She taped it above her desk next to a quote her mother had written years before about patience being a kind of courage. The two pieces of paper looked like they had always belonged together. I still flip switches off by habit, still read bills with a careful eye. Electricity taught me the most important thing I know. It flows or it does not. It does not gaslight you. It does not build lien notices and call them fairness. It does not circle your daughter's schedule and call it concern. The night Mara left for campus, I sat on the porch watching the streetlights come on one by one, steady and obedient, shining exactly where they were supposed to. Some systems, when you fix them right, just work.